we'll all see it at the same time, and that's the 49ers taking on the Philadelphia Eagles, and we got ourselves a pretty good ball game.
It hurts so good.
I was going to say, with defense that physical, you know it's going to hurt. Somebody's going to have to win this game. And
fucking nerds. Oh, my God.
I know, we are. I've been thinking a lot about this game, and I'm gonna tell you something. When I watched the Eagles play that game, I was like, who's going to beat them? Who's going to beat them? They got the best pass deep. Like, we talked about it.
Yeah,
I could go on and on.
Yeah.
They are so good, and Jalen Hurts is, in my opinion, already a top 5 quarterback. And he is.
Oh, my God.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he passes the eyeball test. You put the game on, and he's the best player on the field every week. So it's like, that's when you know you have an elite quarterback. It's like, hey, who's that guy that keeps making all these plays? And then when you think something's going to go wrong, he uses his legs and gets out of it. And then he's also a very good pocket quarterback. Like, he doesn't just run like Lamar a lot. And I think Lamar can be a good pocket quarterback sometimes. But there's a lot of times where you feel like throwing is secondary for him. And I don't get those vibes with Jalen Hurts. I feel like running is secondary for Jalen Hurts. Besides the design, there's over 100 plays that are in a package to design Jalen Hurts to run the ball. And this is why we say, look, offenses, I don't want to say quarterback is all going to be like this one day, but I do think we're getting closer to the point where every quarterback's going to have to be like Jalen Hurts, Justin Fields, Lamar Jackson, like
athletic.
Yeah, just a different style. We're in a different era. Like, you got 100 plays. Sirianni's got 100 effing plays for Jalen Hurts to run the ball. That's insane. And if you watched last week, I even said it on the live stream. I was like, you know what they haven't done? They haven't pulled it yet. And what's so dangerous about Hurts is when you snap the ball in shotgun and you got linebackers on the other side and you do this run play right here where the running back's going to run and you go like this. The fact that you could pull it and run it yourself keeps everybody frozen on the field. So with like Peyton Manning, he could do that and you could just attack, right? You swarm to the ball.
Yeah, you know he's not going to run it.
Yeah, but when you can pull it, you keep everybody honest in that 1-2 seconds that they're sitting there frozen. That is like, those are huge moments in football. Like, when you hesitate, you lose in football. You always have to be like very reactionary, and it causes you to freeze. It's the same thing with zone coverage. Like, you got people running a zone and they have to respect Hurts, and then all of a sudden the tight end gets the ball. It's like, damn it.
Or I was going to say, or you have a guy who's spying the quarterback. That takes a defender away from any of the receivers, the tight end, the running back. You dump it off. All of a sudden, it's a 10, 15-yard gain. And again, like you said, it's like you have to be reactionary, but you also have to respect the game, but you also got to do this. It's just a lot.
It is. It's a lot for a defense. And because of that, I pretty much all week was like, you know what? The 49ers story is pretty cool, but it's coming to an end. And I think the Eagles story is the one coming to an end.
Oh my God.
No. I gotta be honest about this. This was not easy for me. And the reason I'm picking the 49ers is because I do believe that the 49ers are battle tested.
Yeah.
They have gone up against elite teams, like even the Dolphins when they were good. The 49ers absolutely crushed them. And I look at the Eagles, and I have one question. Rick, who have they played that has a defense even similar to what they're about to play?
Yeah, that's true.
I did it for you. Okay, there's
nobody.
They played the Cardinals twice.
Okay.
And they ended up with no, I'm in the Commanders, sorry.
Oh, Commanders. Okay.
The Commanders, okay. I think they were 7th overall at the end of the season. Guess how much points they scored against the Commanders?
30?
20 and 21.
Oh, okay. 41 points.
The Vikings had a bad defense, but they were when they played the Vikings, the Vikings had a better defense. They scored
Mm-hmm.
24. The Cardinals had an okay defense. They scored 21, and then the Cowboys obviously probably the better defense, and they got 26 points. It's just look, all I'm saying is you can't know what you don't know. And for the Eagles, when you go down their schedule, it's kind of like the Purdy thing, right? It was like, oh my God, he's 7-8-0 since he took over. And it's like, yeah, he played Seattle twice. He played, you go down the list. You're like, he played the Commanders.
The Cowboys is probably the closest, like you said, the closest good, like really good defense. And I mean, they played them twice. They lost once, but they also scored 34 points on them. And then what was it? 26 was the other time, like 26 and a win.
Yeah.
Like, so that's probably the best defense. To answer your question, that's probably the best defense they played.
Well, they're the number one defense. So like it was almost like you had no way to answer it because it's like they can't play a better defense. But my concern is, look, we're sitting here struggling. I'm talking about the Cardinals and Vikings. I'm struggling to find a real defense that they played. And we're for the Eagles, we're 19 games or 18 games into the season, which means like they've been able to just torch people all season. They didn't have to play, the Broncos and some of these like defenses that are good. Even teams that were bad like Denver, their defense was solid. So I look at the teams they played, and if you go down the list, it's not impressive. And I do think Philadelphia will overcome that. I do. I think they're going to overcome the challenges because they have a great team. But I don't think they're just going to go and like mop the floor with the 49ers. I think they're going to get into the middle of the game and be like, shit, nothing works like it normally does. You know what I mean? Like we're trying to run the ball and that's not working. And then we're doing the Hurts thing, and they had a good plan for that. And it's just like, it's going to be one of those grinder moments, I think, where it's like, look, like we just have to trust the process. Like the 49ers last week, the running game was not working. And then what happened on the last drive before it went into the fourth quarter? They went on a long running drive because Shanahan's like, hey, man, it'll work at some point. The Eagles, I wonder if they're going to be able to stay true to their craft in the moments of adversity that they haven't faced this season and not hit the panic button and be like, hey, man, we got to do something. Like it's not working. Right? Can they show the poise and the calmness at home in front of their own crowd to not sound the alarm when they're in a close ball game? But we know the 49ers can because they just did it last week. They played the Cowboys, and you can say, oh, it's the Cowboys. Maybe the Cowboys were supposed to win that game, and maybe the Cowboys would have beat the Eagles. Like we don't know really how good the Cowboys were playing last week. All we know is the Cowboys played, I considered one of the best teams in the league. They played a very close game. So I'm going to say the Cowboys did play a good game. Dak Prescott lost it for them. But I do think this helps the 49ers moving into this week. They went against Micah Parsons all last week. Like they had to go against Schultz last week. Now they're going to be going against Gooder. Look, I do think it's going to be a really close game. But I'm worried about the lack of strength that Jalen Hurts has gone against this week. And you almost wish he would have gotten like just a couple more of those, like, Denver games under his belt for me to look at. But I go through and I'll tell you really quick. These are some of the teams that they've played this week.
Yeah.
Or this year. Sorry. So obviously in their division, they played the Cowboys twice. They played the Commanders twice, and they played. Dude, why is it so hard to find their schedule? I hate Bing. I hate everything that's not Google. It's like
everything else sucks except Google. Google sponsor us.
Yeah, Google is so easy. You just Google a team, and then you can hit more games. Yeah. I'm on Bing, and it's like bringing up all this weird stuff, and I'm like trying not to panic. All right, here we go. I Googled it. They played the Lions, the Lions had a good defense, right? The Lions had a pretty good defense, and you look here, They scored 38-35. Now, that was a close game. The Vikings had a pretty decent, by this time, it was week 2, 24 points. Commanders, okay, Jags, Cardinals, Cowboys, Steelers, Texans, Commanders, Colts, Packers, Titans, Giants, Bears, Cowboys, Saints.
Not wrong.
The Aints, and they held.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, man. Like
Yeah.
they got the Saints in here, and then the Giants, and then obviously they blew up the. But like, where's the battle test? Where is the game where you look at and you're like, the Eagles have played a defense that resembles the 49ers, and I know that they can, take this game. Are you worried about this defensive thing that I see? Because it would really suck for the one test to come in the most important moment to find out, shit, we were not ready for the 49ers. And I could see people sleeping on the Niners. They're not favored to win this game. And I could see the Niners coming in here, being physical. And look, I think Hurts is going to be great, but he's also in his second year. It's his second year. Like, he has a lot to learn, maybe. And maybe this is not a wasted season, but a great, tremendous growth. And maybe he's like, you know what? I know what to be ready for going into next season. So, like, what do you think about the Niners?
I'm listening to that. Yes, there's a lot of good points there. And before I get to my points, I do want to get to the comments here, because we got some good amount of people here. I got my mom in the comments. Ma, hello, cheers.
Cheers.
We've also got Bill. Bill logged into work and needed some entertainment. I'm glad you're here, Bill. Cheers. And we got some guys joining us here from Twitch, chairman of the board. Hey guys, how's it going? It's going good, man. Kyle, you got another fellow Packers fan in Milwaukee's best.
Nice.
Here. We got Action Lab in the chat, and we got Scotty A. Smith as well. So we appreciate you guys here talking football and the divisional. The conference championship. I like the points you made. What I will say is the 49ers struggled against the Cowboys. They struggled against the Cowboys, and that was a very good defense. So when you look at that, when you look at what Brock Purdy did, and he had somewhat, and I'm not going to say I called it because they won the game. I expected Brock Purdy to have a human rookie quarterback moment and be like, I'm going to lose the game. He lost it. He didn't. He went out there. He did good enough to get his game in, to get his team in field goal range, to get his team in range for a touchdown from McCaffrey. Like, he did enough to get them that win, right? And at the end, Dak Prescott, for like the third year in a row, fucked his team over and lost it too, right? I think I believe both of those things can be true. Now, when we talk about the Eagles, the defenses that they've faced the Cowboys twice, while the Cowboys' defense was a top unit. The Commanders, I'm not sure how top of a unit they were, but they were good.
I think they were 7.
They were 7. Okay, so they're at least a top 10 unit for sure. They're a good defensive unit for sure. So they did definitely have some competition. They lost to the Commanders at their first loss of the season, right?
And that was the best defense they played up to that point.
Oh, well, I think did they play the Cowboys before? I think they beat the Cowboys beforehand. So I think they
without Dak.
Yeah. And I think during one of those games, unless I can't remember exactly when they played the Lions, because the Lions
week 1.
Oh, so it was only week 1. Yeah, dude, that Lions team, I think the only thing that helped that Lions team that week was the offense, because their defense was absolute garbage, and it was up until like about 7 weeks left in the season. So I won't necessarily give the Lions credit for that, but
yeah, they were trash in the beginning.
Yeah, they were fucking garbage. So what I will say again, Eagles definitely had some tests during the season, but I think I actually have the Eagles winning this one. I have the Eagles winning this game against Brock Purdy and the 49ers. And I don't want to. These two games are like two of the best conference championship games since, like, we're talking like Brady, Peyton Manning, Roethlisberger, and then whoever the NFC had up, right? Like Drew Brees and whoever else was there at the time, right? Like when we're talking about, yeah, and it's a new era, it really is, because at that era, defense was huge as well. But I got the Eagles winning this one, and I think it is because of Brock Purdy's play. I think Brock Purdy again, kind of, he did good enough last week to get his team in range, like I was saying, but against this defense, who is the top defense in the Eagles defense, they're going to definitely get to him too. They're going to make Brock Purdy look not as poised as he has looked in these past few games. The last, 7-8 games that he's played, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna say that sounded like the longest yard when he's like, he makes fast people look not fast.
This defense makes poised people look not poised. So I've got a feeling that this Eagles defense, which is the top unit in the league, right, is going to make Purdy look bad. Now, look, again, we talked about the week they were going against the Cowboys, the 49ers. Oh, well, yeah, even if Brock Purdy doesn't have a good game, which he had probably a slightly above average, if not an average game, what did we mention? We mentioned McCaffrey. We mentioned Kittle. We mentioned Debo. We mentioned this guy, Ayuk, all these guys making these plays. And for the most part, you look at that Kittle catch and that McCaffrey touchdown, those are huge, right? This offense for the San Francisco 49ers has so many weapons that they can absolutely make a difference. In this game, I don't know, man. The Eagles defense has gone against quite a few good offenses. Talking about the Lions at the beginning when they, barely outscored them, 39-35 or something like that. The Cowboys, a few of the other teams they've gone against, like they've gone up against some good offenses and they have held. And even though I think that the NFL and to win in these playoffs in the NFL today, you need that offensive like prowess almost.
Yeah.
This defense is definitely going to be probably one of the difference makers. I think when it comes to this game, it's like which defense is playing better, right? And in my opinion, it's going to be the Eagles defense because they're going to make Brock Purdy look not poised. They make poised players look not poised. So I'm thinking the Eagles in this one. And I again, it's really going to come down to the defenses because look how Brock Purdy struggled against a top defensive unit in the Cowboys last week, right? That's going to make a huge difference.
Yeah. And also another thing you got to look at is how did the Commanders win? And I think they were just able to get a lot of turnovers. Now, a couple of the turnovers in that game were just the receivers fumbling the ball. Like there was some mental mistakes definitely involved in there, but let's be real. Okay. We're talking about the Commanders. Like they were not a good team. Like they're not the 49ers. Okay.
Yeah.
So we can only use them for an example because it was, one of the better defenses that they played, but Brock Purdy with his weapons, I mean, if they're able to get any turnovers, they're probably going to, be able to capitalize them better than the Commanders were. And the Commanders were still able to. I just think when you look at the schedule, it's alarming that they aren't really a battle-tested team. And I said the same thing about the 49ers going into that game. I was like, I'm worried about the Niners. Like, they haven't played anybody since Purdy took over besides the Dolphins,
Yeah, really.
But now they have. And Dallas's defense was no joke, and Purdy was able, when it mattered, to just stay with the program and run the ball. And who do you trust more, Kyle Shanahan or Nick Sirianni?
Ooh, that's a good question. I look, and it's about like who's been in the league longer, I guess, for me. So it would be Kyle Shanahan, but I don't think it's that simple. I don't think it could be like which coach can you rely on more, because
not like that's my bottom line. I'm just just something to think about.
Yeah, for sure. And I would lean more towards Kyle Shanahan because he has been doing this longer and he does come from a And this is such a like ESPN fucking thing to say, but he comes from a good coaching tree of talent. So it's easy to do that. But the things Nick Sirianni's been able to do for what, 2 years now, because I think he's been the coach for the Eagles for 2 years. It's just it's impressive. It's impressive what he's done. So I would lean more towards Kyle Shanahan, but I am very impressed with what Sirianni's done with the Eagles.
Okay, and let me just leave with this stat, okay?
Mm-hmm.
We knew that the Tennessee Titans, they had the best rush defense only by 14 yards to the 49ers. But they both averaged 3.4 yards per carry because the Titans had one extra carry. So I mean, very similar when it comes to that. We talked about how good the pass defense is for the Eagles, number one. But when it comes to running the football, and we know Deebo Samuel, even last week against the Cowboys, when McCaffrey couldn't get going, when they weren't able to really do anything, Deebo was still averaging like 8 yards per carry. So you have such unlimited amount of weapons and ways you can run the ball, and the Eagles are ranked 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16th in rushing defense. And they give up 4.6 yards per carry. So that is do you think that's I mean, their D line has dogs on the D line. Every single player has more than 10 sacks on their defensive line, which is they're the only team like that. So it was kind of weird to see that they're 16th on stopping the run, but they're very good at getting after the quarterback. So what if the way the 49ers are going to go about this is just running the shit out of the football? And that could be their answer. And then when they're all trying to stop the run, that's when all of a sudden you start picking them apart with George Kittle and Deebo, or lining up McCaffrey in the slot and doing a slant. We've seen that a couple times. So I just wanted to say, after the 49ers or after the Eagles won that game, I was under the impression that there's no way anybody is going to be able to beat this team. And the more I sat and thought about it, I realized that was very reactionary of me to think that. And to take a step back and look at the weapons the Niners have, I'm picking them to win. But if the Eagles won, I would not be shocked. And I also don't feel like I would have to, like eat my words or anything, because I do see like these are really good teams. It's just going to be really about who has the better game plan. And it sounds very cliche, but it's going to matter who has a better game plan and who executes better, because they're both, if they're coached well, you wouldn't expect a lot of turnovers, but the 49ers have a good turnover differential. We mentioned it. It's what is the turnover differential? Plus 13.
Plus 13,
right?
yeah.
So the Eagles are +8, the Bengals are +6, Kansas City -3, and then 49ers are +13. It's like, holy shit, that's a big jump. So like, if the 49ers are able to get a couple possessions, steal a couple possessions, they're playing really good. They're running the ball. They're taking time off the clock. Hurts is on the sideline. I don't know. I think it's going to be a close game, but I'm going to take Niners, and I'm also going to take it to come down to the very end of the game.
Okay. I can't argue against that, because like I said, these two games, these conference championship games are so good. And real quick before we go on, let me give a quick shout out here to Action Lab. Got Philly -2.5 in this game. And BW Falk 82. It's got Chiefs 27, Bengals.
That's really Falk.
It's actually Fokker. Chiefs 27, Bengals 17, and he's got the 49ers winning 19-17. What a score that is. And then chairman of the board is saying, shout out to @Action Lab. Thanks for the raid. So actually, Action Lab, we appreciate you getting us some people here for the raid. Go follow them on Twitch @Action Lab.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, man. Action Lab, thank you, whoever you are or you guys are. We appreciate it. And then Bill saying, weren't both coaches up for Coach of the Year? I think they were. Sirianni and I know Kyle Shanahan for sure. Nick Sirianni definitely has to be up for it too. So I'm pretty sure they are both up there, Bill. Man, I was gonna say something about what you just said, and then I had to get to the comments just because.
I think it was close games. I think it's going to be a close game,
Yeah,
a grinder. Maybe I'm just trying to spark
yeah,
something here.
yeah. I think so. Ugh, I can't even remember. But like I said, these two games are gonna be so good. I think it was more of like, oh, this is what I was gonna say. I think with the fact that Kyle Shanahan knows what you're saying, the hi Penguin Goats.
Just saying hi.
Hello. With the fact that Kyle Shanahan, because the Eagles are middle of the pack as far as stopping the run. Kyle Shanahan knows that he's going to try to exploit that. I think Nick Sirianni also knows that they're middle of the pack rushing. So I don't think I think for the most part, Nick Sirianni is gonna like prepare for that, right? It's like, I know that you know that I know that you know that we know, you know what I mean? It's like that whole like mind battle where he knows that he's going to try to exploit that run defense and try to get as much done on the run with McCaffrey, with Elijah Mitchell, with Debo if he needs to. So I think he knows that their defense isn't that great against the run, but I'm positive Nick Sirianni is going to have something to rebuttal that. He's not going to put all his eggs in one basket as far as the run. Open up Kittle, open up Ayuk, open up these guys, everyone, all the weapons, right? Debo. I think he's going to play it smart. And for me, I think the Eagles go to the Super Bowl this year, man. And that's kind of as simple as I think it's going to be, as the Eagles go, because they're going to make Brock Purdy come down to earth a little bit more, just like he came to, back down to earth against the Cowboys. They're going to do a little bit more this time and come out with a win. Although I think kind of like, who was it? BW Falk said 1917 49ers. I think I'm going to go 2017 Eagles on this one.
Okay. So keeping it close. So you did have that question about Coach of the Year. So the finalists are Brian Daboll, Kyle Shanahan, and Doug Peterson. So Nick Sirianni, you could say that it was stolen from him, but obviously Doug Peterson, what he did, Kyle Shanahan with three quarterbacks, and Brian Daboll. I mean, it's a good problem that there's a lot of coaches that you feel like should be up for it. I think that's good for the league.
And if Sirianni goes to the Super Bowl and wins it, fuck Coach of the Year, dude. You just won the Super Bowl. Like, I'll take that any day.
Yeah, I think no, I won't say it. Sirianni, does it seem like he's a little juiced up on the sideline? Like,
he's got the smelling salts. Oh yeah, I believe it for sure.
So we always try to like give some little like fun tidbits of information on this podcast. So Sirianni is a native of Jamestown, New York. So he grew up in the New York-Pennsylvania border, about 70 miles south of Buffalo. And he was raised in a football family. His father, Fran, had 45 years coaching career and was inducted into the Chautauqua Sports Hall of Fame. That may be a Native American brand football Hall of Fame. I'm not sure. It sounds Native American.
It might just be like the area or the city or like the county, something like that.
Yeah, that's what it's called. Wisconsin has a lot of Native American roots. That's why, like Wauwatosa,
Yeah.
The athletic complex, Nick. I was just wondering, like, where did he come from? His older brothers were also coaches. Their names are Washington and Jeffrey and Jay Sirianni, and they won 2 state championships for like high schools and stuff like that. He played Division III football at Mount Union. He was a wide receiver. He won national championships in 2000, 2001, 2002, and started for 3 seasons. And it doesn't really say like how he got in the NFL, but it's kind of a cool story because his brothers are coaching high school football and he makes it to the big leagues. He coached wide receiver at Indiana University before his big break came, and he joined the Kansas City Chiefs as a quality control coach. And that was the bottom of the coaching ladder. And then he got pretty much boosted to wide receivers coach for Andy Reid. and that staff was fired when Andy Reid took over. So Sirianni found a landing spot in San Diego that turned into coaching quarterbacks from 2014 to 15 as Frank Reich was promoted from quarterbacks coach to offensive coordinator. So like this is so cool about coaching. Like no offense to what's his name that took over for the Colts.
Jeff Saturday.
Jeff Saturday, but man, I can respect that. Just climbing that ladder, you know, from like, you know, started from the bottom, like truly.
And I love that like football guys to their core are the ones coming into the league, taking teams like the Eagles, the Giants, the 49ers, like all these teams and like taking them to the championship. Like obviously that's been a thing since like the NFL was a thing, since it became a thing. But it's just like it's so cool to like hear the stories of like Sirianni played high school football, then went to college, and then did Indiana wide receiver coach, and then he became a quality control. And he, like you said, climbing the ladder, grinding, making those like sacrifices, because at the end of it, look where you're at now, Sirianni. You're coaching the Eagles in the conference championship. Like it's just so cool.
Yeah, and he seems pretty young too. He's 39 years old. So
wow.
Yeah.
Well, he's not Sean McVay young, but yeah.
Yeah.